Hello everybody, it's Marie from Skeletorama. Welcome back to my channel. I'm doing great. This is a little small intro into the intro of the rest of the video. Basically, we're going to be making this mad scientist machine, which I'm sure you saw in the thumbnail. And of course, me and my idiot self, oh, this is going to be a quick project. I can do this. Maybe I can throw something else in. Yeah, not so much. You know, I always forget when I'm making these things, of course, I'm focused. So to me, it doesn't seem like it takes a long time, but it actually does. And there's a lot of things that are helpful for you if you've never made anything like this along the way that I really can't not tell you. So what's going to happen is this video is going to be broken into two parts. The first part that you're going to see right now is going to be the box. I get you to the box construction. Construction. The box is already constructed, but the decorating of the box, shall we say. And then the second video will be everything else that's done on the inside. And there's going to be a lot of stuff where I've had to kind of speed things up because we're sitting about 3 hours worth of video right now. Yeah. So, hey, I tried. You know, I really did. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy it. So here comes the original introduction to what I thought was going to be one video. Hello everybody, this is Marie from Skeletorama again. Welcome back to my channel. I'm doing great because today's the first day, well, technically after work when I clocked out was the first day of my vacation, so huzzah, I'm going to make a bunch of stuff. And so what is all this, you're asking? Well, the poor mad scientist lab really needs some details, right? We need some accessories, some different things. Probably the biggest one is the mad scientist lab itself because there's really not much in it. So he's got like one table and one machine. I mean, granted, it lights up and it's pretty cool and I really like it, but he needs more than just one little machine. So I think we're going to make some stuff for that. So I had done an order with Retro Cafe Art Gallery. Here, I'll put this is the website. She has some amazingly cool stuff. One of the things she has are these. So this is a vacuum tube of some kind, some sort of antique Westinghouse. What did it do? I have no idea. It did something exciting, I'm sure. And these were like maybe $2. I mean, they weren't bad at all. So I got 2 of them because I thought, you know, these would be perfect as part of one of those machines. So I have another one of the Tim Holtz vignette boxes. And I thought, well, since we have one like this, now we can have one like this, and then this can maybe sit on top or something. You know, we'll kind of figure it out as we go along. So along with this, I also got some mica tiles. So mica is a mineral, and it's see-through, and it's very thin, and it's super cool. Sometimes you'll see, you know, lights, big fancy sconces, you know, made with mica, and that's what they're using as the glass. So it works really nice as some sort of a glass, but it's got like this amber color and it's very thin. So even though this is one piece, you can take these layers in here and you can separate them. Okay, see that? I don't know if you can see that. Probably not, but see, I'm separating this layer away from the rest of the layers. So you can do that with these. So this little bag, even though it's like 1 ounce or something, I mean, it'll last you forever. So it got me to thinking, okay, well, I want to do some sort of machine, but maybe we can have this over the front like glass, and then I have about 1 billion gears for mixed media stuff, and maybe have some gears in like it's a little machine, and then have the things coming up off the top. So still not completely sure what we're going to do with this, because that's just how I do things. I just start and then I sort of let them make themselves, because it's more fun that way, and usually they'll come up with better ideas, you know what I'm saying? So with that, I have a bunch of different other things. So I have these that I made. These are little dials. So what they are is they are copper washers. I got them at Harbor Freight in one of those little packs that has all the different sizes. And I have taken these were a collage sheet that I got, and they have a bunch of different dials. And I basically glued them underneath and then used glossy accents over the top, so it's got that kind of shininess to it, so it looks like a real dial. And then this has the flat back pearls, little small ones in copper, so it looks like little rivets. So we can use some of those. And I also had gotten from Retro Cafe the thing I showed the address on. So these are like these little, they're similar to those flatback pearls, but they're really flat. And these are silver, so I thought these would make good rivets or something on there too. And then of course I have my lights. So this is a pack of 6 lights that I got on Amazon a while back. But the thing I like about them is they're like the fairy lights, but the battery case is very slim, so you can fit it in to pretty much anywhere. If I was going to have this here, you know, I could make a little matchbox thing to hold it in the back to turn it on and off, you know, however you want it. But we could also decorate, say, the front of it like I did for this one. So there's an artist, she's has her collage stuff on Alpha Stamp. She also has it on Etsy. It's Artfully Musing, AARTFULYMUSING. It's Laura Carson. And she does these cool things. She'll do like these 3D, or not 3D, more like a 2D flat, but kind of cardboard house sorts of things. And so you have all these different elements and things. So I have her Mad Scientist one. So one of the things we are going to make is the chalkboard. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to take my Tim Holtz vignette panels because they're wood, so it'll give it some dimension. And we're going to put that on that. So that's a for sure we're doing that. But had some high voltage signs I thought were cool, some little switches. I can use this on the box to put it on the sides or put it on the front to make it look like it's metal. So I did some sizes of those. And then I printed out these little machine things thinking maybe I could take some pieces from that too. And this right here is this. That's what I used for this. So some cool stuff there. So we'll look at that. And then depending on the kind of time we've got, I've got a couple other things I want to do. One of those is I've been wanting these for a while. So these came out at Halloween. These are the Tim Holtz urns. They're made out of resin, and they are the perfect size for a 12 scale dollhouse. So that little table that I wasn't sure what to do with in that study, I'm going to make some flower arrangements. So I've got 2 of those, so we'll make 2. And whenever I do like the miniature room boxes or the little small kits, anytime there's anything extra, I keep it. I hang on to it. So this is a little Oasis foam, so that can go in there. We can stick the flowers in. These ones I bought. These were from Alpha Stamps. So these are little tiny roses. I have some larger ones, so kind of see which one works better. And then, of course, I kept all the greenery from those kits. So I've got like little fern-looking things. This is some moss, some more flower business. And these are plastic ones, so just kind of see what works best in it. So I want to do those. And then the last thing I want to do is another thing that I got from Retro Cafe. And that is this. Let me get this out of the way. So what this is one of those silicone molds that you can use to make things. And this one is really cool. I'm not sure if you can see it. These are like weapons, and this is a sort of suit of armor type thing you can use as a display and say maybe cross them on it or something. And I put this in the dollhouse, and these weapons actually are a good size, so they can go in there and they would look cool as some kind of a display. So I'm going to do something with that. Put it up real close so you can see it. This is by a company called Zuri, and she carries these on at Retro Cafe as well, and they're a little expensive, but they are just gorgeous. I mean, I haven't seen molds with this kind of detail in a while. Even the Prima ones aren't quite as good as this. So we'll see how these come out. I do have resin. I'm complete bollocks with the resin. I get resin everywhere, except in the mold, you know, because that's just what I do. So I got some air dry clay. So, and it's nice and soft. So we'll see how this works. I also got this to maybe do some fake food. And I love this. Can you see this here? You see these easy steps, right? So it's like step 1, and you've got this blob and a wire. And then step 2, it's bigger blob. And all of a sudden, it's this beautiful dragon. It's like, yeah, I'm doing a dragon like that in 6 steps. You're on crack. So anyways, that's what we're going to do. And we'll play with stuff. And we'll probably do, might do the flowers first because they're the easiest. Or the Mad Scientist thing. I don't know. We'll do one of them. And depending on how long the video goes, I can maybe get 1 or 2 things done. And whatever we don't get done, we'll just go into the next video because I've actually got time now and I won't be completely exhausted, which is great. So anyways, I'm going to clean this stuff up, and I think we're going to work on the Mad Scientist box first because that's the coolest one. And we'll do some lights. I do have some LEDs as well, but they're kind of a pain, and the battery box is big. It takes AAA, I think, batteries in it, so I try to avoid that one when doing small stuff like this. And with these fairy lights, we can go into the box and kind of tack them around here if we're going to put something on the front so you can see in. So that way it kind of disguises them a bit, but then it means I have to bust out the Dremel, which is frightening on a good day, which I will not do on camera. So anyways, I'll straighten this stuff up and we will get started and see what we can come up with. And we're going to see why my desk is such a mess. Okay, so what I did is I went ahead and cut all that stuff out that was on those sheets, right? And here's all the smaller pieces here. And so I'm looking at the box, trying to figure out, okay, what do we want to do with this? And I really think it would be fun to have this open and have some stuff in there. So what I did was I've got these guys out here too. I took all of my gears and things and I went through them. So the ones in here, most of these are like obvious, this isn't going to go in there. That'd be silly. We don't need Roman numerals, it's more mixed media stuff. These are the ones that are more gear-like, that can work in here as some sort of machinery. And I thought, what would be kind of cool? How about if, we're going to have these up here. I would like them to light up a bit, but with these lights, that's an awful lot of light for that. But what I can do is I can have another jar or, light sort of thing like I had on the other box. So I was thinking one of these here. So these are glass bottles. I got these were the Michaels brand at Halloween. I also want to look at the Tim Holtz because they're an amber color. See how these look with something in them. But so basically take this cork out. And what I did on the other thing is I wrapped that in copper wire to make it look more machine-like and less bottle-like. And this can be either in here or off to the side. And then these different gears can be sort of interacting and doing something with it and something with these. And, the nice thing is we don't have to know how this crap works, as long as it works for the scientist. That's all that matters. So I grabbed those out too. And I also do have watch parts. So these are real watch parts that I use in jewelry making. So they're very tiny, tiny little gears and stuff. So these might come in handy too. So I figured I'd pull those out. So with our bottles, what we're going to do is we're going to take this and see, these are a long strand on wire, and you can cut these. So you would cut them, say, right after a joint of it, because if you see this here, see how that's what they did with it here. These are separate wires. And that's just how they separate it. So if you don't need quite this much, you can cut it down a bit. We're going to take this and we're going to kind of roll it up a bit, and we're going to shove it in one of these bottles because I want to see how these react to light, how that looks. Let's get one of these out. My poor packaging always gets trashed. Okay, so let's put this in here, and you just kind of, this is how I did it with the other one. I just kind of rolled it up and then shoved it on in there. And we can test it with this. I don't think I have to take anything out. Okay, so, that looks kind of cool. But as I break it, let's do that with this here. I have a feeling that this bottle will probably be the better of the two. And we can color it. That's what we're going to do with it. So we can have this in here. So it's, it's got its light. And then wherever, we're done with it, it can exit down here. And then we can have it come around where these are. I'll hold this here. And so these parts that are a little closer to the battery pack, which would be mounted on the back, can kind of come up and around and behind these maybe. So it's giving them some kind of light, or maybe from underneath. I don't know. We'll have to figure that part out. But so anyways, that was my thought process with that. So I think we will do the clear bottle. Watch, I'll do the clear bottle and then I'll color with alcohol ink to make it exactly this color. It'd be kind of stupid. But So with the other one, what I did, let me get these out of the way. I love having an IKEA desk because I have drawers everywhere, so I can just, everything's organized. I hate being unorganized. So what I did to color the other one is I used alcohol inks. So alcohol inks are good for non-porous surfaces, which glass is a non-porous surface. So here's how old these are. These are the old Ranger bottle design for the alcohol ink. But I've got like a green, I've got a red, and then I've got this kind of smoke color. And I also wanted to see, especially when we're talking about the mica, I do have distress stain as well. And this is vintage photo, so it's a nice brown. I'm just curious how it will work on mica, so we'll find that out as well and see if that kind of can make it look like, you know, old, dusty, that sort of thing, distressed stuff. All right, so now that we have decided on the box, going to be open, and we're going to have stuff in it, we've decided that we're going to use this jar either here on the side or here on the bottom. We'll kind of see with the gears where it fits the best. We're going to have these on top, and I think I want to do both of them here like this. And I don't want them in just the wood. So I do have these little bottle caps. So I've got two different sizes. I have this size here, and I have this size here. Now this size I do have two of, and they fit. This kind of sticks over a bit, so I think we'll go with this size, and then we can have the little light bulbs coming in this way. These also have a hole in them, but I don't think it's big enough to get this stuff through it correctly. So let's grab one and fold it. Yeah, no, not going to happen, but maybe we could put it underneath and have the light shining up through it that way. We'll kind of see how that looks. So in order to attach this to these, I'm going to have to use E6000 because it's metal, so especially if you're going metal to metal. This is the perfect thing for it. It's very, very strong. It's very flexible, but it does take a while to dry. So what we're going to do is we're going to start prepping some of our components here while we decide on the rest of the stuff. I know I want to use these bottle caps. I know I want them to be facing this way versus this way. And I know I want these on there. So I'm going to take the E6000 and I'm going to put a decent amount on these little prongs and stick that on there. We're going to see how well does that stick, because yes, I do have a soldering iron and solder, but I don't want to go there with it because that's a mess. So we've got that on here. We'll take this and we're going to sit it and center it right there. And we're going to put it off to the side. And actually with this, you kind of want to pick it up and make sure. So yeah, you know, I think what we'll do, looking at it and how it's connecting, which is mediocre, let's go ahead and just put some around the bottom, and then we'll sit the prongs in it. And yeah, it's going to be a little messy-ish, but that's okay. That will work fine. You could probably also use super glue. Super glue tends to be kind of brittle over time. So, okay, so I've got it, and it looks pretty centered. I'm bringing it here so I can look over the top. All right, that looks good. So we're going to push this guy up here, and we're going to let it dry, and that'll take a while. We're going to do the same with this one. And put a nice, decent ring of it, and I bring it up here so you can see a little bit better. There we go. We're putting it's a nice ring of it that's fairly thick, so it'll have somewhere to kind of land. And we can maybe disguise it with some aging. See, that's about how much I've got on there. And then we're going to take this, and we want to sit this so that it is centered on here. And then we'll sit this off to the side as well to dry. And then once it's dry, it'll give us a much better idea of, you know, is that going to be sufficient to hold it? It should. It usually is, because E6000 is pretty good. So, all right, we've got those drying. We know we want to use our bottle here, so let's look at some of the gears. So I've got this. This is like a, it's got a little piece that pops out, but probably doesn't, because I'm betting, yeah, I've glued it to it by now. This looks kind of like a light You know, so this could go, say, in here, up towards the front, and then we could have this bottle here and the gears. So we'll leave that as a possibility. Now the gears, we're not just going to lay flat. We are going to pop them up. I have foam tape. I have a bunch of different things that I can use for that. So we just want to see, okay, what kind of gears do we want in here? So probably you want to start with larger ones at the back. This is cool. This looks like a throwing star, but it doesn't look like a gear. So we're gonna let that one go. Let's see. Yeah, we can have one of these. And these are the Finnabear ones that Prima puts out, and I love that they already have the patina on them. So I don't have to worry about a rust texture because it's going to have it. So we'll kind of maybe put one there. What do we have here? I mean, they're not necessarily going to mesh, but they don't really have to. You know, so maybe one there. What else we got? One down here, and then our bottle can go in the center here. So that can be our first layer of the gears. And what I like to do with that is I like to kind of put them out on my craft mat because it's much easier, and I've already forgotten the placement of them because why not? Of course I did. All right. We did this and this and this. We'll do it like this. And then you can start kind of auditioning other gear pieces on top. So we can maybe put this here. That'll be like one level up. How about this one? This one's kind of cool. There. And then you can put this maybe here. You know, and again, our bottle will be fitting in there. So we'll have to do the bottom layer of them, and then I think put the bottle and then start building up the other layers. And yeah, we'll do these layers here with the bottle before we worry about this or maybe any other pieces. So we can take the other large ones and go ahead and get rid of those. Those are not as cool as they are. They're just not going to work with it. And then this one is really thin piece there. Don't like that as much. All right, so that's that. And it's just kind of like this weird decision-making process. Once you make all your decisions about stuff and you go to put it together, the actual putting together of it's very quick. So those are going to be our gears. We've decided on our bottle. This is our we've decided on pile. This is our maybe pile. So we'll bring our box back out and look at what do we want in the box, right? So obviously in this box, it might be okay with just the wood, but I don't want to do the wood as the backing. So instead I want to take some of this stuff here and use it on the interior. So I was looking at this piece here and it's about the right size. So we'll cut this down and we're going to line it with this, and then these edge pieces we can line the top and the sides and the bottom with, I do believe, or we can take pieces from this and do it. Might want to take pieces from this. I don't know, we'll see. So let's figure out how big we want this. Easiest way is just put it on top. Get yourself a pencil and line it up because we're going to want it to be even in there, as even as we can. And we have these nice little metal things to use to help line it up. So I've got both of these where they are kind of right on the edge of this. So what we'll do is we can just go ahead and cut it just to the inside of these. And actually I don't really need to mark it with a pen or pencil because I'm going to assume these are equidistant here. So I'm going to get my paper trimmer out, move the box of rejected stuff, and line it up here because me and my ADD, I've already forgotten what I said. All right, we're going to the inside of those, And we'll line this up so it's on the inside of both on here. And we're going to go ahead and cut that. We'll hang on to this to use for lining. Okay, same on this. All right, so there we have that. Let's bring our box back in and we're going to fit it this way. So yes, it does fit this way really nicely. So now we need to go this way. And so we want to do the same thing because again, we want this to be even. You know, it would look weird if it was offset like this because in reality you wouldn't have it offset. So find some kind of landmark. Let's use the top of this, kind of where it makes that angle, and make sure that's spaced equally there. And this we will need the pencil for. So do a pencil line here. Make sure you're not bowing it in when you do this. Pencil line here. And bring out the paper trimmer again. And we will cut right where we marked those. Here, and where's my pencil line? There it is. That's the hardest part of this, is remembering where you left your pencil line. Okay. And then there. All right. So you can put this in the bottom of the box, but chances are you're going to get it stuck and you're going to have to dig at it to get it out. So what I do when I'm doing this thing is I put it in this way. Okay, and I can see right now how it has to curve to get in that way. It's just a little bit long. So that I'm just going to grab the scissors. Again, these are the tonic ones, so make sure your logo is facing away from the side you're cutting so you don't get the serrations on there. We're taking just literally a hair off at a time. Okay, so we've taken it from this side, so I'm going to hold it on this side and put it in there. And it's almost there, so we're going to flip and take the hair from the other side. So that way we're still keeping our element in the center There you go. And I mean, this is literally how much you're going to cut off. Okay, because you're just kind of whittling it down, because if you cut it too short, then now you have wood-colored space that you have to deal with. See, and now it fits in there just perfect. So we know this is going to fit in here and cover the bottom of it for us. So I was just wondering how this would look on here. That looks terrible. So yeah, we can go ahead and chuck these. All right. So now we have our bottom of it. So now we need to do our sides. Keeping in mind you will be adding just a tiny bit, you know, with this at the bottom. But these are the ones that we cut off. And oh, they're a little short. But these ones are a little tall, so yeah, you really can't win. So we have this element here, so since we have these here, maybe we should have these meet like this. That might be good, right? And so it won't matter as much on this inside. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to kind of sit it in there to where I have it flush with the back. And then I'm going to use my pencil again on the outside. And that'll tell me how much I need to cut off. So I'll be at the right height. Put that in there, that's the side. All right, so paper trimmer. And I love this because it's got like the little plastic bit so you can get it nice and lined up. And then use this to hold it versus putting your fingers in the way of that blade. So we have that. Actually, that we might hold on to. That looks pretty cool. And it's nice and thin. I don't know if you can see. It's got the little rivets on it. Because I was thinking it might be cool to put it in kind of this depression area here. Ooh, see, now that works. Here like this. So let's hang on to that. Always try to reuse your little scraps before you throw them away. So now we have this, and I know it's going to be slightly different because I watched it just ever so slightly move when I cut it. So I'm going to do this by eye because I like to live dangerously. And we're going to put this in here, and you see now it fits. Okay, so we know we have the right width here for our sides. So we're going to need 1, 2, and this will, I might need to print another one of these off. We'll see. So it's probably going to be another one of those videos I end up speeding stuff up. I am not doing another one of those damn voiceovers though, because that took forever. All right, we're going to do our edges, because you see when you cut the paper, you have that white core. If I put it in like this, you can still kind of see it around the edges. So I just I'm going to use ground espresso because it's a little bit darker. I'm just hitting those edges to disguise that white paper core in there. See? It looks a lot better now. And we'll do that to all of these pieces. And with this one, I'll show you the other one to compare it. See? Your eye picks up that difference. It's very slight, but it does pick it up, and it takes away from the realism of it, you know. As real as a mad scientist's weird box with a bunch of gears and crap stuck in it's going to be, but you know. Do the same to these. And then we also need to figure out what we want to do with the edges of the box. Obviously, we don't want to leave it like this before we put those in there. So we have a couple options. I'll just use this as an example, but we can take the offcuts here. We'll get one of the new pieces where it's just this kind of metal, and we can kind of make our own edges for it, which is probably what we will do. That's probably the easiest way to do it. So these can then, they'll go on these edges here, and we'll probably sand these down. We'll put them on here so that it's flush to the inside, but the outside's not, and we'll cut around, we'll sand them down. We will do that after we get not only the paper on the inside, but the paper on the outside as well, so it's covering that gap as well. So we're good with these. We don't need to put the ink on these until we are done sanding them. There's no point. Okay, so now we have the inside of the box, we have the edge. What are we going to do the outside of the box? Should we do more of the same, or should we make it different? Let's see, what do we have here? So I've got these, and you don't have to use these exactly this way, because obviously this wouldn't fit, right? And it wouldn't look right even if we put that on there, but we can cannibalize portions of it. You know, so let's hold this up to here and say, okay, if I use this part, would that look right? Probably not. Yeah, I don't think we're good on any of these. So we can put these guys to the side. I may end up having to print off more of this, but I don't know yet. Because see, this one's just slightly too narrow, which is a bummer. And this, that's not going to cover the whole thing. So I may print out, let me print out another sheet with this on it, and I will be right back. All right, so as I was getting ready to go print some more of these off, I had a thought. Wait a minute, I have these. These are embossing folders, right? And so these are 3D embossing folders, so they do this really cool effect. I've got 2 of them. And I knew I had had some of the already embossed paper somewhere, which I do, and it's here. This was done using tonic paper, so it's metallic, but it does have kind of this grain to it that I don't think quite looks right with it. So, because I thought I did it on regular metallic paper, but I didn't. So I have my Tim Holtz metallic paper. So what I did was I went ahead and did 2 of these. Now the reason this one's curved up like this is because in order to get it to make a really nice impression, you want to spray the back of it with your sprayer with just a couple mists of water. And so that'll help it. But I thought maybe one of these would be cool on the outside. Now, is it going to be the shiny? No, it's not. But we can take it and put it on here and cover the back and the outsides with this. So we'll see how that looks. So what we'll do is we will age this with some alcohol ink. There was a really cool video that he did over Valentine's Day. It was for like Heart, Tim Holtz. And that's the technique that he used. And I thought, oh, that's great. So we'll try that. And then, of course, my other half was kind enough to spare me the trauma and went ahead and put a small hole in this for me, which you want to do ideally before you have your paper, because if anything goes wrong, it'll destroy your paper at the same time. So let me get my stuff for this. So for the alcohol ink, I have my little applicator, and this is like a piece of felt that you use for it. We'll turn it over because I don't know if that'll react to anything. And we're going to use the smoke colored or sleet colored alcohol ink on here because it's kind of like a dark gray. So you just put a little bit on here. A little bit of alcohol ink goes a long way, and it does dry pretty quick too, which is cool because it's alcohol based. Go figure. And then we're just going to kind of go over this with it. Oh, look at that. Oh, I didn't expect that. It's kind of turning it silver. Oh, it looks like it's taking the color off this, which is fine because I kind of wanted silver, but I don't have any. So, okay, that just made things very cool. We're going to do something different for the antiquing, but that's awesome. See, every once in a while when things screw up, sort of, they really don't. This is actually even better. Because I do like copper, but copper wasn't going to really look right with this, but this does. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, so we will put a little more on there. Pull the rest of that color off. Why not? All right. So there we go. We'll do that. And it's kind of going into those little crevices as well, which was originally what I wanted to do. But we'll do something different with this. So hang on one second. So now in our quest to age this, we are going to take this. This is a pigment ink. This is VersaFine Clear and Nocturne. It's a black. And then I've got one of these little Ranger foam things. And we're going to put this on here. So what you want to do is you want to cover this with your ink and get it right into all those nooks and crannies, because we're going to remove the black from it, but it'll leave behind, you know, everything that was in those little nooks and crannies, and it'll give it kind of an aged look. So it's going to look terrible for a few minutes. In theory, it won't look terrible when we're done. If it does, well, you'll never see this part of the video. And then we'll try something completely different, because seriously. I'm like, oh, I'll just make a little quick video doing this. Yeah, it'll be super fast. It'll be awesome. Nothing in art is fast, you know? Never. All right. And then I have pigment ink all over my hands. Okay, that should do. So we're going to let that sit and dry for a few minutes. And I'll be back. So that's had a couple minutes to dry. And just in case you're curious, that is this. This is the Ideology Metallic Craft Stock. And I got it in rose gold and copper. So apparently, when you put alcohol inks on it, it pulls that copper right off and you have silver. So hey, you can save some money that way. All right. So when he did his tutorial, and he actually knows what he's doing, which is refreshing, I'm sure, he put the alcohol ink on there, and then he took steel wool and then got the stuff off there. So we're going to hold it with this just in case. But see, you take the steel wool and you kind of go across it, and it starts taking off that color that you put on there. So, and this is actually giving it kind of a brushed metal look, which is really cool. So we'll keep going over this until we get it the way we want it. And I'm doing the entire piece at once, not just because it's easier, but because I want them, you know, to match. If I tried to do this on individual pieces, I would have a heck of a time getting it to match. So I'm going to keep this going in one direction just so it'll do that. Let's see. We'll kind of go here. And knock off some of this pigment on here. And I'm doing it fairly lightly because I want to get rid of the pigment, but I don't want to get rid of it from the little nooks and crannies. So see, now you can see it looks like it's been aged, right? And it looks more like a brushed metal, so it's like I smudged that there. So we'll just kind of do one more time in one direction to sort of make it a little cohesive. Okay, so now this we can cut so that it'll go on here, as that was allowed. And this will go on the outside of our box and on the back. And then once we do that, once we do the inside, then we'll decide, do we still want this on the outside, or do we maybe want to use smaller strips of this? Okay, I'm going to do the same sort of thing, and I'm going to cut this so that it's the same width as these. Just line it up. I'll probably end up, you know what? Let's do the back first, because I will screw that up at some point. So this is dry enough where it doesn't look like I'll put any more weird fingerprints in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach that stuff to the outside, I think, first. And then we'll do the inside, and then we'll see what we want to do about the rim of it. So what I'm going to attach this on with is collage medium. So we're going to start on the back. And this is the Distress Collage Medium in matte. You can also use Mod Podge, but the Mod Podge matte still ends up a little bit shiny, and even though we're not going to do shiny on we're not going to do it on the outside of this because it doesn't need it, but we will on the inside. So I'm going to take this here, and we are going to, let's see this out, it's nice and thick. We are going to put it on our substrate here, and we want to make sure, of course, our holes at the bottom. Once we get it on here and this is dry, before we do the inside, we're going to clear that hole through the back so that we don't lose it. I've done that one before too. So let's get this on here. I'm doing it fairly thick only just because that has been kind of textured with the way it's embossed. So I want to make sure that it keeps hold of it real good, right? So in this, I think you do have to move a little quick-ish. But I've got a nice thick layer on here. This all the way to the edges. Make sure it's nice and even. All right, and then we will put our paper on the back. Let's see, let's do it this way. We'll line up that top like this. Okay, I'm gonna get my paper towel, and I'm just gonna press down on it. Kind of rub a little bit, because I did notice I did put a little bit of a smudge. And we're just going to press down on this real good until it holds. Normally you would do this like with your fingers, but again, I don't want to accidentally smudge my little finish on this. Okay, so there's that. And so, of course, as you can see around the edges, we have some we'll need to trim up. So we'll put this down here. I'm going to press down this way. And I'm going to go get some water for this. I'm going to let this dry just a minute before I go cut the edges off. So now we have our covered box, and it really looks like metal, which is why I didn't want to put any collage medium on the outside, because I'm afraid since it's matte it will take away that shine, and I do kind of want that shine to stay. Okay, so we have our outside of our box, and we will get ready to do the inside. Okay, so for the inside, before we do that, remember we have our hole here. So we're going to take an awl, and I usually hold the paper kind of on both sides of it just so it doesn't detach it. I'm just going to poke it through there very gently till I can see it on the other side, and then I'll go through from the outside. Yeah, not towards your hand, idiot. Go from the outside in, and if you kind of just move it around like this, it'll widen that hole to the diameter of the hole that's normally there. Okay, so we've got our little hole because that's where our lights are going to go through, so that's actually kind of important. Okay, so we've got it like this, and we will clean off the brush, and we will start by doing the inside piece. to seal it, again, we're using our just fresh collage medium. And this time, we'll just put a little bit, let's grab a Q-tip, I think. You just need to transfer a little bit onto here, and then you're just going to rub it in with your fingers. So that way it rubs into the paper real good. It doesn't put too thick of a layer on it, but you're still going to coat it nice. And if you do like circular motions with it, you won't have to get, worry about fingerprint type stuff. And swear to God, I hate that thing. I'm going to have to do the edges with a Q-tip because I have long nails, so I can't get into those edges. Here we are with our box. Everything's nice and dry. So you can see our sides and the back. It's looking pretty good. So of course we had cleared the hole in the back. So now we're going to do it on the front, and you do it the exact same way. So we're going to take the awl and we're going to poke it in from the back and do it very gently so you don't pop up your paper. And then in the front where we can see it, we're just going to put that right back in there. Oops. We're just going to kind of wiggle it around and make that hole a little bit bigger because of course we have to get our lights through here. Let's make sure we have it large enough to do that. If not, I've got another awl. Okay, so we'll use a larger one on that just to make sure the hole is large enough because of course, again, these are where our lights are going to go, so that's kind of important for us. So we'll just test putting the lights through there. And they go through no problem. See? Okay, so now that we've got this part done, we can set it aside for a little bit and turn our attention to our bottle. All right, so we are at the part where we've gotten the box finished, which is probably the natural part to go ahead and break this into 2 videos. So in the next one, which will be put up, right behind this first one, we will get to do all the rest of the stuff in there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I will see you in that one. Okay, miniaturists. See you guys in a bit. Bye.